Hey guys, Chart Stoppers back with another video. In this channel we take a look at different stocks and map out their key support and resistance areas on their chart. It's important to know these areas before you buy any stock, and it's also important to know what kind of a trend a stock is in before you buy into it. Support and resistance is one of the most important things you should know about a stock before you either buy or sell. And also, if you're doing any day trading, swing trading, or options trading, you're definitely going to want to get familiar with this channel and support and resistance. And just to let you know, I'm not a financial expert. These videos are for educational purposes only, but I am here to point out key factors on the charts which do impact the price action of a stock. And I also provided a link in the description for Webull. You could use that to start an account and get 2 free stocks, and I also provided a link for Robinhood. You could go ahead and use that, start an account, and get 1 free stock. Okay? Just to let you know, I will be doing 3 videos per week on 3 different stocks. So if you have a recommendation for a video, leave a comment below and I will try to get to it. Okay, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and have your notifications on also so you don't miss out on any new content here. Alright, so let's get into the market. Today is July 18th, 2021. It is Sunday, so the market is closed. It will open tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. Eastern time, and you could see here on Friday the market closed red for all indices. The S&P was down 0.75%, the Dow was down 0.64%, and the Nasdaq was down the least at 0.42%. But everything red. A lot of selling off happening last week because of the inflation data, and going into this week, we're hoping to change the momentum to the upside here. So let's get into the stock I want to take a look at today. I wanted to go over Skillz. I had a request from a viewer to go over this one, so I'm going to do a video on it. They finished the day down on Friday. Okay, they were down almost 5%. All right, they're currently trading at $14.45. They were down 9 cents in after hours, which is the equivalent of about 0.62%. All right, so not a good day Friday for this stock. And in the past week here, we've seen this thing drop close to 19%. All right, in the past month, this thing is down over 26%. And in the past 3 months, we're pretty much flat, down a little over 2.5%. In the past year, it is still up over 18%. So not bad for the past year if you bought in back here. But in the past couple months, if you were to buy in anywhere in this area after it hit this all-time high of $46.30, which it hit on February 5th, if you were to buy in anytime after February 5th, you've been losing a lot of money in this stock, okay? And, it's just been fall. You could see a big fall here after hitting those all-time highs in February. A huge drop from $46.30 to, let's see what the low was during this correction. And that was $12.40. So a lot of people lost a lot of money there, and just a big fall. This thing was like a falling knife after hitting those all-time highs. And it's not really surprising that this thing fell down after hitting these all-time highs, because you could see the big run up after the stock came out as a SPAC here. Huge run up in price, not a lot of consolidation going up. Huge gaps left behind there. So if you were in this and you didn't take profit, you really should be kicking yourself, because you should look at these charts as it's going up and seeing that there's no consolidation on the way up. So that eventually it is going to turn around and come back down and consolidate in these areas, like right in here between these 2 support lines and right up here where you see these huge gaps left behind. That it's going to come back and consolidate in those areas. So, if you didn't learn your lesson on this one, hopefully in the future, you could take this into consideration when you see a stock going straight up like this and not a lot of consolidation. You should know that now it's going to come back down and it's going to consolidate in those areas, all right? Let me just put a top resistance point in this stock, see where we need to close here. And it looks like it's going to be around $43.75. That looks like the area where we need to close above, because it has never closed above that area. It did hit 46.30 intraday, but it did not close above about $43.80 there. So that's where we need to get to, close above there and hold to move on to new highs here. And you could see not a lot of support on the way up. So, on the way down, there was not any really support. And you could see it went from this resistance level all the way down to around $25 is where we saw a little bit of support. You see a little bit of a bounce here around $25. And you could see, there wasn't much support there on the way up. There was a little bit. So, it's no surprise that this support got lost pretty easily. And it dropped down very far to our next support, which is right in here around $14. As you could see, that was former resistance on the way up there. And it ended up being support on the way back down. You saw some pretty nice bounces off of this support line here. It hit it once here, dropping below there briefly, but ended up recovering nicely from there, and another bounce here. And we're looking at our third bounce off this support, hopefully. So hopefully it does, bounce off this support in the next week here and make a turn to the upside. But I just want to point out something here. You could see our downtrend that I have marked in our red line that we have not been able to break above, okay, since hitting these all-time highs. So it's stuck in this downtrend. This red line is acting as resistance here. As you could see, we touched on that briefly in June here, the beginning of June. We fell again and then went up a little bit, bounced off that trend line again, and now we are falling back down to support. But the thing I wanted to point out, I'm just going to delete this trend line real quick and draw another trend line. And the reason it's important is because I talk about this all the time in my videos. I go over this a lot here. And, you could have, let's see here. Let me draw this trend line out first and I'll talk about it. It's not letting me move it. Okay, so if you had this trend line going down during this correction here, and you were trading on the bounce off of the support here, you could have traded this right here if you would have waited for a clear break off support. Let's see here. Let me get my trend line drawn in there. And you could see, it sharply fell. Let me change this to white so we could see it more clearly. Okay. So you could see that it came down very sharply following this trend as resistance. So if you're a trader, you're looking for a nice bounce once it bottoms out. And this thing, someone's going to come in eventually at a price that they think is reasonable and buy this stock up. So if you were trading this, you should have been waiting for this to fall. And you could see, when it got up around this area and couldn't break the trend line, kept falling, that's when you should have been watching very closely, because once this thing broke above this trend line and broke out of this sharp downtrend, you could see that it made a very nice bounce off this support here. And let's look at it very closely here. And if you were playing this right here, the bottom of this candle is $13.73. That was the low of this candle right here. And that was in May 13th when the correction bottomed out. And it seemed like all other stocks, just like this one, made a nice bounce and a little bit of a recovery. But if you were playing that and you were watching for the break of this trend line, you could have got in around here, which is around, $15. And you could have had this thing trade all the way up to around $25, okay, before it reversed, and you could have took profits on a very nice gain, pretty much a 75% gain there. If you got in down here and you were playing it, you pretty much had a 100% gain if you got in around $12.40 on the low of that candle right there. So you can trade these stocks when they're falling for the bounce off the support. You just got to know how to play them and watch your trend lines very closely to see when they are confirmed and broken out of the downtrend, because you could get a nice little return there very quickly if you play it right. So I just wanted to point that out. You could have got, 100% gain there, or a 75% gain on the double bottom here once you saw it broke out of that trend line. So just something to keep in mind for the future if you are a trader and you're looking to make some, quick money on some nice trades. Watch for these falling knife type situations here and trade them on the bounce back up, okay? Because they always do that. They always fall down to a support, and then someone will come in and start buying it up, create some momentum for the reversal, and eventually it'll top out at a resistance point, but you got to be ready for that also. So I'm just gonna delete that trend line, and we'll take a closer look at what's going on here. So you can see as I zoom in, it looks like our 8-day moving average here in the white, this white line there, is acting as resistance going back to the beginning of July. So a couple weeks here, that's been acting as resistance, and you could see it is getting very close to our support line around $14. So keep an eye on that next week also for the bounce off support there. Let's switch over to our weekly chart and see what we could find there. And as you can see, I also have a green line marked for our uptrend that it's been following since around the beginning of October or middle of September last year. You could see it's been bouncing off of this trend line, since then. So hopefully it looks like we're getting very close, and our trend line is pretty much where our support line is also at $14. So I would be watching for this thing around $14 this week for buyers to start coming in. You could see on the weekly chart here, once it gets to that area, usually that's when buyers start coming in and buying up this stock. So you should expect a nice little bounce if you're trying to play that. Let me draw my trend line back in here just so we could see where we're at now. And you could see on our weekly chart, we're going to be looking for next week to break above this blue line here. I'm going to switch it to red because that's how I usually draw my downtrends in red. And we're going to be looking for next week, the break above there and the close out of the week above our red line here, which is pretty much following our 21-day moving average on our weekly chart, which is this light blue line here that I have highlighted. That's our 21-day moving average on the weekly chart. So my downtrend line is basically following that. So if you don't draw the trend line, keep an eye on that 21-day moving average of the weekly chart because that's acting as resistance also. So once we break above that, you should expect a reversal. So I'm just going to switch back over to our daily chart. And actually, I'm going to switch over to our 4-hour chart, see what's going on that one. And you can see, it looks like our 200-day moving average is stopping us out from moving higher also. So we did reach around $25 before we hit that 200-day moving average and got stopped out on that one. So it did reverse around that 200-day moving average. So keep an eye on that when we get back up around that area. And we'll see what happens this week, okay? And also, switching back over to the 4-hour chart, our 8-day moving average also there in the white is acting as strong resistance. So I would watch for the break on the 4-hour chart of the 8-day moving average first, and then the daily chart to confirm it there, okay? So that's about it for this one. Not really much to go off of as this stock has only been listed since, May of last year. So we don't really have too much history on this one. But that's about it, for this one. If you guys like the video, make sure you hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and have your notifications on so you don't miss out on any new content here. Okay, and I want to thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you next time on Chart Stoppers.